Have you ever wondered why some people achieve their desires effortlessly while others do not? Even within the same family, one child might excel and achieve their dreams while another does not. Think about that. They share the same gene pool and grow up in the same environment, yet their outcomes are vastly different. How does that happen? Similarly, not every student in a classroom gets an A+, even though they all have the same teacher and learn the same material. Consider this even further. In the self-help industry, people often learn the same concepts from the same teacher, yet their results vary dramatically. Why did reading the book Ask and It Is Given transform our lives and gave us unparalleled access to Source, and it didn't do the same for everyone? What truly translates teachings into tangible results? Is it the teacher, the material, the student, the genetics, the environment, or something else? Let's explore this together. In this chapter, we will continue our discussion of my journey from being a homeless 18-year-old with limited English and survival skills to retiring at 40. We started this discussion in the last chapter, video number 17, where we emphasized the importance of listening to, associating with, and learning from the right people. If you haven't watched that video yet, please do so first, as it sets the foundation for this chapter. You may recall from video number 17 how the universe aligned in my favor by arranging a crucial conversation with Roman regarding our investment in Bill's company. Despite Roman's clear warning about investing in Bill's company, I couldn't heed his advice because I wasn't teachable at that time. This chapter focuses on the essential lesson of being open, receptive, and teachable. Teachability is another key factor that separates those who achieve great results from those who do not, even when they have the same teacher teaching the same material. Your ability to achieve results is directly proportionate to your teachability. The higher your teachability, the better your results. People with low teachability struggle to achieve results because they cannot accurately process, absorb, and internalize information. This lesson was originally imparted to us by one of our mentors. After Source came into our lives, we refined this concept even further with their guidance. Here is our version of teachability. In order for anyone to learn effectively and be able to process, absorb, and internalize information to achieve desired results, they must be teachable and coachable. This is a prerequisite. If a person doesn't meet this requirement, the teacher, the material, the genetics, the environment, or anything else will not matter. How do you know how teachable you are? There is something called a teachability index that helps determine your teachability. The teachability index has two variables. Number 1, willingness to learn. On a scale of 1 to 10, how high is your willingness to learn? Nothing changes in the lives of those that are not willing to learn. Learning is a lifelong process. You must be willing to learn things that improve your life until the day you die. Do you remember the story of how I was trapped at my uncle's motel? As explained in video number 8, during that time, I realized that not being able to speak English was a major roadblock in my life. If I could learn English, my chances of freeing myself from that horrible situation would increase exponentially. So I taught myself English. I would take a newspaper from the motel, attempt to read it, and highlight the words that I did not understand. Then I would look up those words in my English to Gujarati dictionary and learn what they meant. I also listened to the TV while cleaning the motel rooms and repeated the dialogues out loud to improve my accent. That is how I learned English. My willingness to learn English was incredibly high. On a scale of 1 to 10, my willingness to learn English was 10 because my survival depended on it. Anyone can have a high willingness to learn when their survival depends on it. However, the real test of character is maintaining a high willingness to learn even when it is not a matter of survival. Remember that last statement. It is critical to understand that. Are you willing to learn more even when you already know so much about a particular subject? Are you willing to learn more about wellness while you are in good health? Are you willing to learn more about relationships even when you already have a satisfying one? Are you willing to learn more about making money even when you already have millions? People that achieve their desires are the most teachable, and they continue learning even when it is not a matter of survival. Let me give you a few examples from my own life. I pulled myself out of being homeless by starting a job at a fast food restaurant, earning about $4 an hour. After a full day's work, I frequently came home with burns on my hands from having to cook all day, and I still didn't make enough money to survive. To improve my situation, I found a second job at a convenience store, making survival a bit easier, but there was still room for improvement. So, I secured a better job at a manufacturing plant, which paid more and offered overtime if you worked the night shift. The thing about the night shift was, it was hard work and it screwed up your sleep cycle, making it difficult to sleep during the day. On top of that, I noticed that my coworkers working the night shift were often lazy, indulging in drinking and substance abuse instead of monitoring their machines that manufactured elastic bands for clothing. This neglect frequently led to loose threads wrapping around the overhead rollers that were responsible for moving elastic bands into boxes so they can be packed and shipped. The wrapping around would continue, causing significant tension on the machines and eventually break hundreds of needles and threads. So the machines frequently broke down in this manner, and they would be down for a while until everything was fixed, and all of that was impacting the plant's productivity. This was a known issue, and no one seemed to care about it enough to do anything about it. I was genuinely interested in improving this situation, so I started thinking about a solution. I spent my free time studying these expensive machines and developed a sensory device for the rollers. This device would automatically stop the machines to prevent any damage or downtime if tension was detected on the rollers. So, if the elastic bands started to wrap around, the machine would shut down automatically. Suddenly, my machines were running 24/7, producing the most output. The word spread, and soon after, the general manager of the facility showed up to inspect my gadget. I still remember the puzzled look on his face as he examined the device and walked away scratching his head. The next day, he returned with an envelope full of money and a letter of recognition to my name. I sobbed with joy because it was the most cash I had ever made in a single day up until that point. Soon after, a professional company from Atlanta came to study my design, and they officially started manufacturing my device to retrofit every machine that existed. I told you that story because the recognition and reward ignited something profound in me that day. The path to success seemed clear. Employers value employees who go above and beyond. My invention led to higher pay, a promotion, and a new title. So, I realized that willingness to improve a situation translated into willingness to learn, which translated into knowledge, and knowledge translated into value, and value translated into money and power. Thrilled by that realization, I kept learning and learning. The money I saved from working overtime at the manufacturing plant eventually paid for my computer education, leading to my first professional job. Finally, I had one job that covered all my bills, and I even had weekends off, and they even gave me 3 weeks of paid vacation. Paid vacation, by the way, felt like such a joyous reward to me because I never had one prior to that. When I took my first vacation, I did not know what to do with my time off because I didn't have any friends, nor I was aware of how to plan a vacation. So, I picked up a programming book and learned that entire new programming language within that 1 week. The knowledge of the new language empowered me even further at work. So I turned it into a habit, and soon I had mastered over 25 different programming languages. Learning to program with that many different languages rewired my brain with incredible information processing capabilities. I could now analyze, process, absorb, and internalize information in an unprecedented manner. This was such a reward for me. Having mastered programming, I turned my attention to databases. I learned directly from the developers of database software to become a database administrator. With these new skills, I landed a job making 6 figures in my early 20s. And it was not necessary to learn anymore, because making 6 figures in your early 20s, almost 30 years ago, was a wonderful thing. Yet I kept learning. Next, I took courses from Microsoft to become a server administrator, and then I learned even more to become a network administrator. And then I learned about cybersecurity. As my skills and knowledge grew, so did my value, ultimately translating into higher income and easier life as I moved up the corporate ladder. This accumulation of knowledge and skills turned me into someone capable of developing my own technology company. So, that's exactly what I did. Creating that technology was easy, but starting a company and making it successful was whole another story. It required a whole another set of skills. By this time, I was married to Soni, so we both embarked on a journey of continuous learning together. We acquired vital skills in the areas of health, wealth, happiness, relationships, business, and success, just to name a few. We delved into accounting, finance, fundraising, sales, marketing, communication, influence and persuasion, people management, money management, priority management, tax management, etiquette, body language, cold reading, wealth strategies, investing, diversifying, building real estate portfolios, legal strategies. We learned about the inner workings of the subconscious mind and how to reprogram it. We learned techniques to identify and prevent conditioning, programs, and traumas, and eliminate the existing ones. Through profound spiritual practices, we purified and harmonized our bodies, minds, and soul. We mastered the law of attraction and inner workings of our guidance systems. This extensive accumulation of knowledge and skills combined with practical application of the law of attraction in harmony with our guidance systems, enabled us to retire early. There is a quote that always resonated so well with Soni and I. The quote is, "Create a life you don't need a vacation from." So we created a life that felt like a vacation in a vacation destination in Florida. But here's the important thing. Did we stop learning after we retired and having created that life? No. With our newfound freedom, we delved deeper into the teachings of Abraham Hicks. We absorbed their teachings so thoroughly that Source came into our lives. Did we stop learning at that point? Of course not. We are now learning the most profound lessons ever, directly from Source, and unraveling the mysteries of the universe with immense excitement and passion. We know that we will remain teachable students for the rest of our existence. Valuable knowledge, internalized to perfection, leads to transformation. This is how we transformed our lives and fulfilled our desires. Remember this quote from Zig Ziglar. Rich people have small TVs and big libraries. The opposite is also true for those who do not achieve their desires. It is important to point out that in all of our learning, we always remember to apply the who do you listen to checklist first. There are several common failure habits when it comes to selecting mentors. The first is blindly following the crowd. The second is being swayed by powerful subliminal marketing. And the third is listening to everyone and everything out there because people have the fear of missing out. These are pitfalls that Soni and I consciously avoided to achieve real results. As we continue our journey together, we will introduce some good mentors and good books to assist you in your elevation. In case you're not familiar with the teachings of Abraham Hicks, read their books first. That is the best starting point to make sense of the advanced techniques that we are teaching you. This concludes our discussion on the willingness to learn. This again is a concept that takes 5 minutes to learn and a lifetime to master. In the next chapter, we will explore the second and the most important part of the Teachability Index. Stay tuned and have a fantastic day.
This publication is protected by U.S. and international copyright laws with all rights reserved. It is free to share and only personal, non-commercial use in its original form without any edits is allowed. For commercial use permit, visit SonyMattandSource.com. No part of this publication may be reproduced by any mechanical, photographic, or electronic process, or in the form of a phonographic recording, nor may it be stored in a retrieval system, transmitted, or otherwise be copied for public or private use, other than for fair use as brief quotations embodied in articles and reviews without prior written permission of the publisher. The creators of this publication do not dispense medical advice or prescribe the use of any technique as a form of treatment for physical or medical problems without the advice of a physician, either directly or indirectly. Any information in this publication is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Consult your physician before beginning any diet, nutrition, or fitness plan or lifestyle changes. The intent of the creators is only to offer information of a general nature to help you in your quest for emotional and spiritual well-being. In the event you use any of the information in this publication for yourself, the creators and the publisher assume no responsibility for your actions, and you agree to release the creators and the publisher and anyone and everyone from any and all liabilities.